the Big Sky tournament, which will take place March 9th through the 12th in Boise, Idaho. The defending champ, Eastern Washington, the Groves show. If you remember that from last year, when then they went on and gave Kansas a hell of a game. 11 teams make this conference tournament. 5 get a bye. Montana State, who's the overall 1 seed, Montana, Southern Utah, Weber, and Northern Colorado. Here's another trivia question for you. Montana, 11 titles, the most of all time in Big Sky Conference tournament championships. Weber, the second most with 10. I think for years there was always just Weber versus Montana. Yeah, it's a shame that when Damian Lillard was there, he just never could beat Montana and never got in the tournament, which we all were robbed of. By the way, the last non-1 or 2 seed to win was Montana in 2010. I think there were 4. I mean, this conference has been dominated by the top seeds, but it's a little more balanced out. I mean, Montana and Weber used to be just like head and shoulders above everyone else and would always get to the conference. So it's not the same here. But so Montana has 11.
Yep.
Weber has 10. 2 teams are tied with 4 Big Sky Conference tournament championships. Can you name one?
I bet Idaho is one of them.
Idaho is one. Correct. Ding, 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 ding. Let the ding.
Once upon a time, this team was not so terrible. I guess they haven't been so terrible this year, but they've been a frustrating bet for me the last 2 seasons. I think I've lost more money on Idaho games than any other team. So kind of a tough.
They're called the Vandals for a reason.
That's right. Bastards.
Yeah. I mean, this conference had a little bit of craziness too. Just on a night in and night out basis. I mean, Idaho beat Montana, Weber, and Eastern Washington in back-to-back games recently.
Right.
Just to throw that out there. But the other team with 4, you want to take a guess? You'll never get it, but
Northern Arizona. No, I have no idea.
Boise State has 4 Big Sky Conference.
Oh, wow. Ironically, that's where this field is, right? Is Boise for the?
Yes.
I think it's the 4th year in a row.
Yeah, it's in
5th year.
Boise,
yeah.
But. All right, so let's take a look at the odds here. Montana State plus 190. Very balanced team, well coached. I think we're both a fan of Sprinkle.
Yeah, Sprinkle's great.
They're plus 190. Southern Utah plus 350. Weber plus 410. Northern Colorado plus 550. Montana 10-1. Eastern Washington 10-1. And you start getting down into the dregs. Portland State 48-1. They play fast. They have a bench. They try to turn you over. There's a lot of the teams at the top don't have turnover issues, which kind of works against Portland State here. It's interesting that Northern Colorado actually, they're plus 550. They swept Southern Utah in the regular season, 100-95 and 91-81.
Yep.
Get those scores in your mind because Northern Colorado, all offense, no defense. They want to play fast and they can outscore you. Although they just lost at the buzzer to the Montana State backups to close the year, but they can't defend anyone, not even backups. And then Southern Utah swept Eastern Washington. The key with Southern Utah here, though, really good offense also, but Jones and Marin, what is their status?
Yes. Yep.
So they have injury issues as well. And then you go to the top half of the bracket with Montana State. Southern Utah's the 2 seed, Montana State's the 1 seed. They are going to face either, assuming they get through their first game, they're going to face either Weber or Montana in round 2, and they both they lost to both of them this year.
Yep. I think they both split.
Which is something to keep in mind. And Weber, they both split, and then Weber and Montana split. So I think Montana State is the best team in this conference, but am I in a hurry to bet plus 190? No. A lot of good offenses here. I think it's going to come down to matchups and a lot of shooting variance. But what do you see when you first look at this bracket?
Yeah, I'm with you. Montana State, I think, is the team I trust the most. But it's no bargain at plus 190. I'm with you. It's a tough draw with Weber and Montana lurking in that potential semi matchup. Weber's been on a complete tailspin, man. They had that terrible non-con, then they stepped into conference play and then just flipped the light bulb on and they were ho-humming along. They got Dante Bassett, the former Florida transfer to, he was reinvigorated playing like his old dominant self and then just hit this tough stretch to close as with Montana as well. So I think both Weber and Montana is a fascinating first round matchup. I think we see the winner of that game, I think could be like a catalyst to a deep run from either Weber or Montana. the two teams I think that are just the perennial contenders in this conference, right? You just talked about at the onset. It's like usually you go back historically, those are the names you're seeing at the end of the bracket. On Saturday when all the marbles are being played for. I was kind of looking at the winner of that game and maybe just, who wins that matchup. And then I think they get a decent draw with Montana State, even though they're the 1 seed. I think it's actually a relatively vulnerable run seed compared to Southern Utah and Northern Colorado, the way they're playing lately. So I went back and forth, but you mentioned the injury concerns for Southern Utah too on the bottom half. That one jumped out at first, but it seems like Marin will play because he had an illness. I think he's the more important of the two. You get one of those two dudes back and you feel better about your chances. I think they're a tough matchup for Northern Colorado. So I guess I'd lean Thunderbirds and then maybe one of Weber or Montana, but nothing strong for me here either. Again, the prices, this might be one stuck where you want to do the money line rollover thing with one of those teams coming on Thursday.
Yeah, I think I might. I mean, look, Southern Utah, very, very experienced team, which I think helps in this setting. And so a lot of these teams in this conference have no bench. Like Northern Colorado doesn't have a bench at all. Weber doesn't have a bench. Eastern Washington doesn't have a bench.
Eastern Washington, no bench.
Yeah, which could come back to bite them. Especially like a team like Northern Colorado. That's one of the things that gives me pause with them because Northern Colorado, they are 334th in bench minutes and they play fast. So maybe legs are an issue. But this is a team that can shoot the lights out. And they're plus 550. They, like I said, they swept Southern Utah. And, they can outscore them. They can go in a shootout. And then you have some injury concerns for Southern Utah. So I think if you want to target Northern Colorado, maybe a money line rollover doesn't make sense in case Southern Utah does have some injury concerns. But Northern Colorado, they just don't play any defense at all. So, it's not a given that they're just going to get by Eastern Washington and or Northern Arizona. The winner of that game they'll face. So that's kind of what makes it tricky. I think I would want a little bit more, but that's the only one that really stuck out. Montana, I ultimately just don't trust their offense. I know they won't turn it over, but they just struggle to make shots at times, and they get no offensive rebounds whatsoever. So I don't know. I just 10-1 is, it was intriguing when I first looked at it, and I said, all right, well, this team already beat Montana State. It's their rival. Brandon Whitney's an incredible on-ball defender if you haven't watched Montana. But I just don't trust their offense. And so I think for me, it's some of the uncertainty in the bottom half. I think Northern Colorado is the look, if anyone here.
Plus 550 at FanDuel, right?
Yeah, plus 550. And you just hope that they are on, because when they're on, they can beat anyone in this conference by outscoring them, as they did against Southern Utah twice. And that's what you have to hope. I mean, this is a team that's 10th in the nation in 3-point shooting at 38.2% and 8th in 2-point percentage, 4th overall in effective field goal percentage. So the boys from Greeley can score. So
I have a flyer. Yeah. I have a flyer here.
Okay. This is what we're waiting for.
I just refreshed the fan. I don't think I even looked at this at first. Northern Arizona is plus 50,000. I mean, I know they were an absolute dumpster fire down the stretch. Don't get me wrong. But you look at that draw in the bottom half where we're just talking about how there's so much uncertainty with some injury concerns. Northern Colorado, Eastern Washington, the two teams that have to potentially beat if this stupid fairy tale comes to fruition. I don't know. It's obviously a complete long shot, but plus 50,000. I mean, my goodness, 10 to win 5K. I mean, that's probably worth just a little bit of a sprinkle now. If you got some pocket change laying around.
Well, I'm
like you're telling me that they're twice. So Idaho State's plus 22,000, but NAU's plus 50,000. Like, look at the draws. You can't tell me Idaho State's twice as good of a favorite to even get to the semis there. So I don't know, just a weird pricing inconsistency. And they have the best player on the floor occasionally with Jalen Cone. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm reaching. I know.
Yeah, no, I don't hate it. I mean, they won at Montana. I had Montana to finish out a moneyline parlay, and they lost in overtime. So they flashed. They lost. Then they lost by 2 at Montana State.
Yeah, they played Montana State close twice. 1. Montana, they beat it. Right. It's not terrible. I don't know.
So they've shown some flashes, and then they've had some complete duds, of course, as well. But yeah, I mean, they're a really young team, so you're going to get some and they shoot a lot of threes, which is good if you're going to take a long shot like this, and you have a player like Cone who can go off. I think they play a lot of freshmen. they've started to improve a little bit down the stretch. So I don't hate it. You want a flyer, Northern Arizona, the Lumberjacks. I think that's the way to look
Lock
there.
plus 50,000 lock.